Bakugan Battle Brawlers is a Nintendo game that I played on the Wii growing up, and I believe it's on Xbox 360. And it is the greatest anime game that you have never played. You've heard of Dragon Ball games, you've heard of Naruto games, you've heard of One Piece games, but Bakugan Battle Brawlers for the Wii is by far the best anime game that you've never heard of. It's one of the best game adaptations for a show there is. Especially when it comes to anime games, it holds up comparatively to the show. You don't play through the story, but you do play through an original Bakugan story with new characters and new game mechanics that weren't in the previous games before. The one for the Wii that I played had character customization out the wazoo. You could customize your hair, your eyes, and what color you wanted to be, and the color of the Bakugan you wanted. Which I know doesn't sound crazy, but back then, the only other thing that gave you those options were Skyrim and Oblivion. The graphics actually still hold up to this day, in my opinion, considering it was released in 2007. Here's some actual gameplay from Bakugan Brawlers on the Wii. As you can see, in 2007, it was decently good for the time. It also had interactable maps, which you don't really get a whole lot of. Every map had a unique route that you could take to place your Bakugan onto the board. You could take different routes and move around your Bakugan when you threw it with some energy that you could collect throughout the maps, and if you ever ran out, you could collect more with the green batteries that you see kinda pop up every now and again. But there were so many routes to take. That's what I used to love about this game as a child, just the endless possibilities, the secrets, the amount of points you can rack up before you even get into a battle. But you should be cautious. You can run out of energy. Now, before every battle, you have to throw out, I believe, 3 of your own cards. And the cards can benefit the player depending on how you land on them. So, if you were to throw down a card that gives you 100 points every time you land on it, then the enemy player could land on it too and get the 100 points. In order to collect one of the cards that you or the enemy threw down, you had to either get 2 Bakugan to land on the same card, or you had to have a head-to-head battle with the enemy if you happen to land on the same Bakugan card that theirs landed on. Now, the battle themselves is actually a random mini game that can happen, and for this one, depending on the element that your Bakugan is, you have to select the color that it matches. See, this is the wind element, which is the green, and the person to collect the most green tokens and rack up the most amount of points actually takes the round and gets the card. And when it's all said and done, there's actually decent animations for most of the Bakugan here and the elimination of your opponent. There are many battles you can partake in when it comes to collecting the cards and fighting your opponent for them. And this is one of them. This is a shake battle where you just have to shake your controller until it says not to, which when I played as a kid, I never realized it didn't say like don't shake, probably because I couldn't read, but I would always just shake it, but I would end up winning anyway because even if you don't shake it and shake it whenever it tells you not to, it doesn't really hinder you all that much. And there are a few more of these games, but I'm just going to show my favorites. I believe there are 35 different playable Bakugan characters in the game. Not speaking on the avatars, I think there's a few less of those, but I'm meaning Bakugan that you throw on the table and fight with. I think there's 35 of them, all with their different elemental variants. I'm not 100% sure what the elemental variants do, except for color coding and selling more toys. But aside from that, there's 35 different Bakugan you can get, and let me just show off my favorite ones. I'm sorry I wasn't able to find any high quality videos of them, but these are my favorite ones that I remember as a kid, just because I remember I liked dragons and dragon themed things, so all these are kind of dragon-esque looking, if not so humanoid dragon type, and yeah. Now, I'll be honest with you, when I was a kid, I didn't give a damn about the story in this game. I only cared about the cool looking characters, the cool looking Bakugan, and I was a sucker, so I bought the merchandise when I was younger. But for the story itself, I'm pretty sure the main game is about a new dimension of Bakugan, I think. At least I read a briefing, it was something like that. It's like new dimension of Bakugan who are much bigger and stronger, and also like kind of robotic looking, kinda. But I don't remember that at all while playing it. All I remember is that there was the red guy, Dan, and then there was a new evil guy wearing all black who had, I don't know, some shit. And then I remember the game original Bakugan, was evil. So, I didn't read any of that in the briefing, but that's what I remember as a kid, and I honestly think that the person who did the brief on it didn't play it either, because none of that shit rings a bell to me. So, yeah. And that was really all I have to say about Bakugan Battle Brawlers for the Wii. And if they ever port this game to Xbox or PS4, PS5, anything, or like even the Switch, I would be so down to play it again, just like a new revamped version of it. Of course, they would need a little bit of a graphical update, but aside from that, it would be so fun to play it again, and I'll see you guys in the next video.